Well, it's time now for the day's business news. Stephen Carroll is here. Let's start with the massive losses reported by the supermarket Tesco. Tell us more.
That's right. Tesco is the UK's biggest retailer and the third largest in the world. They've seen pre-tax losses of £6.4 billion for 2014, or €8.9 billion. That's the largest loss in the company's 96-year history. Now, there are a number of factors behind this. One is that Tesco stores are worth less than previously thought. It's also closing 43 shops in the UK and cancelling plans to build another 49. That accounts for €6.5 billion of that huge loss figure. Sales are also down. Trading profit is 58% lower in the year to the end of February than it was to last year. Then there's the accounting scandal that saw last year's profits overstated by around €330 million. All of this painting a very bleak picture for the company's new CEO, Dave Lewis, and giving an idea of the challenges he's got ahead.
Well, what's happening with their shares, Stephen?
Well, it's interesting, actually, this one. Shares have opened up in Tesco this morning by about 1.8% in London. It was moving quite quickly at the open, so we haven't got an exact figure to give you right now. But that's despite the fact that the company's warned its volatile performance won't let up anytime soon. That's caught a couple of people by surprise. Now, across Europe, as you can see, we've got small gains across the European markets. Technology and banks doing well. Here in France, Alcatel-Lucent is up 2.6%. More after effects of that deal with Nokia. Now, over in Asia, it was Japan that was the big news, making news on the Asian markets. We've got the Nikkei in Tokyo closing at a 15-year high of over 20,000 points. That's after the country reported a trade surplus, so the value of its exports exceeding its imports for the first time in nearly 3 years, a sign of how the country's economy is recovering.
Right, well, it's been months that we've been following Greece's latest tangle with its international lenders. Are we at least coming closer to an agreement?
The short answer is no. EU officials have dampened expectations of a deal before this Friday's meeting of finance ministers. Now, Athens is trying to agree on a list of economic reforms with its international lenders in exchange for the last $7.2 billion of its bailout loans. That list was meant to be agreed by the end of April. Officials in Brussels say that now looks unlikely. William Hildebrandt has more.
Greece is running out of time and money. It had been expected to show a proposal of reforms Friday at the Eurozone finance ministers' meeting in Riga, hoping to unlock €7.2 billion in bailout money. But now both sides have signaled that a breakthrough is unlikely, at least anytime soon.
The negotiations have made progress over the past few days, so there is reason for optimism. I think if they continue to work in a focused way, we could come to an agreement in the coming weeks.
Both sides were hoping to reach a deal before the April 30th deadline, but some say that's likely to be pushed back now. The clock is ticking. On May 1st, Greece owes the IMF €203 million. €770 million are due May 12th, and another €1.6 billion in June, before the bailout extension expires on the 30th. With its debt obligations, liquidity problems, and day-to-day operations, there are fears Greece could default, but Athens remains confident.
There will be a deal. Even the institutions acknowledge that. This does not necessarily mean that there will be a solution at the Eurogroup on Friday. No Eurogroup makes significant decisions in such a short amount of time.
On Tuesday, Greece made a last resort effort to scramble cash together. It ordered local authorities to hand over spare money. Athens needs to find well over €1 billion to meet this month's wage and pension bills.
Let's take a look next at some of the day's other top business stories. Profits at Yahoo have plunged by more than 90% in the first 3 months of 2015 to $21 million. Investors were pleased, though, by hints the company is exploring a sale of its Japanese business. Yahoo's already cut more than 1,000 jobs so far this year as it tries to bring down costs. Shares in the company that owns KFC jumped in after-hours trading after it reported a smaller than expected fall in sales in China. Yum Foods, which also owns the fast food chains Taco Bell and Pizza Hut, saw same-store Chinese sales drop 12% in the first quarter. Analysts had been expecting it to be even worse because of the economic slowdown and a series of food safety scares in the country. And a man's to appear in court in London later over the so-called flash crash on the US markets in 2010. Navinder Singh Saro faces extradition to the United States over briefly wiping almost $1 trillion off the markets. He's alleged to have used an automated program to generate huge trades that push down prices.
All right, Stephen, and finally to an iconic American product which is facing a bit of a makeover.
Yeah, this is Kraft macaroni and cheese, much beloved of many people in America and around the world. The company's announced, though, it's going to remove its artificial colouring and preservatives from the product, which give it its sort of yellow-orange glow. From 2016, all boxes of mac and cheese will contain only natural ingredients. The changes coming more than 2 years after an online petition to remove the artificial colours collected 365,000 signatures. People really care about this food, and among them is Florence Villamino. You love mac and cheese.
I am a big fan of mac and cheese. It's childhood memory.
There's a time for everything.
Absolutely.